welcome back to my channel. Today is a very special video for me because I'm welcoming you from my second home, which is the New Horizons Cinema in Wrocław. This video is also very special to me because this is the first time that I'm going to attend the New Horizons International Film Festival. So I want to take you to the festival with me. I've just collected my tickets and I'm going to see 6 films in total here at the cinema and also a few of the open air screenings, and I will be talking about the films that I watch and also recommending them to you or warning you against them. This is the first time that I'm doing it, so I don't know if I'll see something that I don't like. Maybe I will, or maybe I'll be impressed by everything I see. So let's just see what happens. Let's go watch some films. Yay! I've just watched the first film, my first film, at the New Horizons Film Festival, and I'm so excited to be here. This is my first festival ever. I am beyond happy to be here, but I'm also quite stressed because I've never recorded anything like that in a public space, but everyone here either has a camera or a microphone or a press pass or something. I think this is the best environment to start recording in a public space because everyone else could be doing that too. The first film that I watched was Mid-90s by Jonah Hill. It's a film from 2018 and is the feature directional debut of Jonah Hill. And this film tells the story of a group of young people who try to navigate their lives, and we follow the youngest one of them, Stevie, on their journey through friendships and family relationships and skating and growing up. I didn't grow up in the 90s, but I grew up in the early 2000s, so I know all of the cultural references made in this film. I didn't have a group of friends who skated either, but I did have a group of friends who rode bikes with me, and we were just hanging around the neighborhood and staying up late. And this film threw me right back into my early teenage years when I started hanging out with some older friends. The young actors were incredible. The one who played Stevie managed to pull off the two sides of his character. One which is still naive and wants to be accepted and liked and is still young and is trying to figure everything out. And the other side, which is getting a bit tougher and becomes a young teenager who tries to rebel against everyone. You can also see that Jonah Hill has his way with music. He managed to recreate the atmosphere of the 90s by using popular songs that were popular in the 90s, but also some older songs which created specific moods on screen. It reminded me of what Xavier Dolan did in Mommy. In mid-90s, Jonah Hill uses particular songs to play around with the emotions and also breakthrough moments for the characters that he wants to show on screen. And same as Xavier Dolan, he did an amazing job in this film with using music. Mid-90s is a heavily nostalgic coming-of-age story, and even if you're not the child of the 90s, I think you will find something for yourself as well. Probably you'll find yourself among the group of friends and you will see some of your friend group's dynamics, and I highly recommend Mid-90s to everyone. I am so happy that I watched this film. It was a great opening to the festival, at least for me, because that was the first film that I watched at the festival, and I cannot wait to see other films. That I watched as part of New Horizons Film Festival was Sils by Olivier Assayas from 2014. I wanted to see this film for quite some time, so the fact that they were showing it at New Horizons Film Festival was reason enough for me to go watch it. Also, it was screened at the main square as part of the open air screenings, so I was more than happy to go and see it because it's been a huge dream of mine to attend these open air film screenings in the summer in the city. I was just so happy, and I think this is why I liked Sils so much, because it was the first film that I watched like that, and it made me more inclined to receive this film positively. Sils was written for 2 actresses, Juliette Binoche and Kristen Stewart. You can see that in the film because they play the 2 main characters. Maria is played by Juliette Binoche, and this is a character of an acclaimed artist, and and Kristen Stewart plays Val, her personal assistant. We observe how they work together from the moment when we learn the tragic news of one of Maria's friends. And Maria has to decide whether she wants to take part in the play written by this friend who has just died, because she had already played in this play 20 years before, but now she's been offered another part. This film is fascinating because from the first 30 minutes onwards, the real world and the world of art get confused, and sometimes we and the characters don't know in which world we are currently in. Maria and Val play themselves, but sometimes they get lost in the roles that they've come across with and that they think or don't know that they are playing. The film is layered, there are multiple meanings to each and every line, and we as viewers sometimes get lost too. The ending is not so obvious either. It won't be a spoiler when I say that it was not what I was expecting, and it certainly leaves room for interpretation. Sils Maria deeply explores the character of an actress and what it's like to be an actress in an ever-changing world. It's also about growing up, maturing, and work-life balance in a professional relationship. Juliette Binoche and Kristen Stewart are amazing, and the views, oh my god, the views of locations are amazing too. And there are some scenes in which you get lost just by simply admiring the landscapes. So I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. By the way, this is the first time I'm recording in public alone. I have my tripod here, which is just a table, and there are so many people here. I'm so intimidated, I'm so hot, I'm sweating. I certainly have to get used to being out in public and talking to a camera, even if I am a one-person crew with the microphone, with the camera, and a table as a tripod. Let's go to the next film. The next film that I saw was The Traitor. It is a film by Marco Bellocchio from 2019. The story is based on the real-life events involving the Sicilian Cosa Nostra. More specifically, it focuses on Tommaso Buscetta, the mafioso who broke the code of silence and collaborated with the judge in order to get a lower sentence when he was arrested for the fourth time. We, the viewers, are witnesses to everything what happens in and outside the courtrooms. I hadn't read the synopsis before seeing this film. It's a habit that I have. I just saw Marco Bellocchio's name and I thought, okay, I know him, I'll go see that movie. And gangster films are not something that I usually reach for. I've seen a few in my life, and this one is unlike any that I've seen. It is not based on the shooting and action scenes, nor does it show the mafiosos planning their actual criminal activity. We only focus on Tommaso, and his story is not romanticized like, for instance, in The Godfather. And this is something that gives the story a more modern perspective on the typical mafioso film genre. To me, it was a bit too long, but I enjoyed it nevertheless, even though, as I've said, I don't really watch mafioso films. And I think I will give it an 8 out of 10. On the same day after I watched The Traitor, I went to this cinema, which is not the New Horizons cinema. I went here to see Present Perfect, an experimental film from 2019 by Sheng Zhu, or Zhu Zhengze. I have no idea how to say his name. This film is a collage of footage from live streamings in China. These were the live streams made by regular people, and this footage was showing their regular, normal lives, and it was supposed to show what live streaming culture is in China. I should have known that this film wouldn't be for me, because when I watch YouTube compilations, like fail compilations, I'm bored, and fail compilations usually have some action in them. This film didn't have any action. The stories were not connected to one another. They were just very, very regular, which means sometimes very, very boring. Just imagine an opening scene in which there is a crane at a construction site, and for 2 minutes we watch a guy destroying buildings and he doesn't speak. And that was the opening scene, and then the next ones were as entertaining. I wanted to leave the movie theater after the first 15 minutes. I lasted 45, and I knew that there were so many better things I could be doing with my time, and I was very, very disappointed. But I think this is my mistake, because this is the first time ever that I'm attending a film festival, and sometimes things like that happen. You just go and see films that are boring, bad, just very, very bad, and that happens to everyone, including people who've done this a million times. So I think this is a rookie mistake that also happens to everyone else. And I'm sorry that I spent so much money on this film, but that showed me that there are also bad films shown on film festivals, and I think I will give it a 2 or a 3 out of 10. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I can imagine how it ends and how the stories are not connected and there is no plot. If you like compilations though, and if you like watching regular lives of regular people or just slow cinema in general, I think you would enjoy Present Perfect. But watch the trailer first, and that will give you an idea of what this film is like and what it is about. I wasn't impressed and I didn't like it, and that was the first time ever that I walked out of the movie theater, so yeah, things like that happen too. The fifth film that I watched at this year's festival is Bergman, A Year in a Life, a biography of Ingmar Bergman from 2018, directed by Jane Magnuson. I've heard so much about Ingmar Bergman, and yet I've only seen one of his films, Fanny and Alexander, and now, having watched Bergman, A Year in a Life, I want to watch The Seventh Seal and Wild Strawberries even more. I never knew that Bergman was a perfectionist, a workaholic, and such an incredible genius. I also didn't know that he paid for how acclaimed he was with his own health, family relationships, and his mental well-being. Bergman, A Year in a Life takes us on a journey not only through 1957, which was the year when he made one of his most famous works, but it also jumps back and forth to the most impactful moments in his life so that we get the full picture of who he was at all stages of his life. I have to say that the intensity with which Bergman worked in 1957 was something that I was not prepared for. I have no idea how I would have survived as Bergman in 1957, but I think this speaks of how big of a genius and master of cinema he is. He inspired me to aim even higher in my life, but his life is also a warning not to get too sucked into your own work to an extent when it's the only thing that you can care for. If you like Bergman, or if you like biographies in general, I think you'll enjoy it as much as I did, and I will give Bergman, A Year in a Life an 8 out of 10. After Bergman, A Year in a Life, I watched Clean from 2004, made by Olivier Assayas again. Alongside Sils Maria, this film was a part of the retrospective of Olivier Assayas, and in his earlier film, Assayas wanted to explore drug addiction and readjustment to the society with all of its ups and downs. The main character, Emily, is in a relationship with a musician, and both of them are addicted to drugs. One night, her partner Lee dies from overdose, and she is charged with drug possession. Nothing is put in the foreground in Clean because everything that happens to Emily is equally important. We observe how she faces numerous challenges and tries to fight her addiction. We are introduced to Emily's life as she's parking her car, and we are leaving her also in the middle of an event, and because there's no climax, I felt like I was just observing everything but not interfering from the outside. For me, the weakest point of Clean is the acting, and that's ironic because Maggie Cheung won the Best Actress Award for this role in Cannes, and I didn't feel any chemistry between her character and the other characters, and I found her extremely unconvincing. I didn't feel any emotion coming from her. Emily seemed to be approaching everything that was happening to her more or less indifferently, and I think this is how Maggie Cheung wanted to portray Emily as a character. But I saw Maggie Cheung in Tian Li Mi, one of her earlier films, and I liked her in there, and in Clean she just didn't speak to me. Overall, I'll give Clean a 6 out of 10, and now I have 2 more films to watch tomorrow, and that will be the end of the festival, and I'm really sad that it's coming to an end. Mathias and Maxime from 2019, directed by Xavier Dolan, is an expressive and lyrical story about emotions and how good we are at hiding them, sometimes even for years. The main characters, Mathias and Maxime, have been friends since childhood. Matt has a serious job and a serious relationship, while Max, played by the director himself, decides to depart and start all over again, leaving his toxic relationship with his mother. The two agreed to act in a friend's film and share a kiss, which makes their friendship more complicated, especially since one of them is going to leave the country. Matthias and Maxime is beautifully shot, and it perfectly conveys the mood of anticipation and uncertainty of one's feelings. The family and the friend group dynamics are engrossing, and the tension between Max and Matt is palpable, especially in the final 30 minutes of the film. Xavier Dolan proves again that he truly is the wonder child of cinema, both as a director and as an actor. I'm giving Matthias and Maxime a 9 out of 10. It gives me everything I need from a film. The captivating story, the mood, the perfect soundtrack, and the complete immersion into Dolan's world. I love this film so much. Best one I've watched at the film festival by far. What are you doing? This is... And I think this is the best film that I've watched at this festival because I gave it a 9 and I couldn't stand up. After watching it, I was sitting in my chair for I think 2 minutes and I just couldn't stand up. So I think this tells you something about this film. You should watch it. You have to watch it, and tell me what you think. And the last film that I saw was Everybody Knows by Asghar Farhadi from 2018, which was the opening film for the most recent Cannes Festival. This is the first film by Farhadi which isn't set in Iran. In Everybody Knows, we are transported to a remote rural area in Spain. Laura, played by Penelope Cruz, is coming from Argentina with her children to see her family as one of her sisters is getting married. However, one event turns her world upside down, and the secret, which she managed to keep for 16 years, surfaces and the whole family has to deal with it. Everybody Knows is a combination of a thriller and drama. We deal with the family relationships which are more complex than we would have expected, and there is also the criminal element which kept me on the edge of my seat. The duet Cruz and Bardem was beautiful to watch. They were electric and their energy filled the entire village. Watching this film in the open air on a warm summer night was a phenomenal experience. I completely forgot where I was, and I think for the 2 hours of this film I was definitely somewhere in Spain. That is a type of engrossment that watching a film at a movie theater or at home cannot provide. I'm giving Everybody Knows an 8 out of 10, and this is the last film that I watched at the New Horizons Festival, and I cannot believe that this wonderful adventure is over. The festival has now come to an end, and I'm so grateful that I could attend it and be a part of it. I wish I had more time to see more films, but I'm so grateful that I could watch 8 of them. I watched 6 films here at the cinema, and I watched 2 films right there at the main market square, and I enjoyed 7 of them, which I think is a good score. I cannot wait to attend another film festival, and I hope I'll get to attend more and more of them in the future. Have you attended any film festivals, and what is the festival that you'd like to go to the most? For me, it would be Cannes and Sundance, and I would definitely want to go to the New Horizons Festival again because it holds a very special place in my heart. It was the first festival that I've ever attended, and this place is literally the second home to me, so yeah, I would like to come back one day. As always, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon, and you'll be notified whenever I post. Check out my Instagram if you'd like to see more of my daily life, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, and bye from the New Horizons Film Festival. See you.